Anxiety is like that tag on the back of your shirt. You know the one. You don't always notice it right away, but it can be really irritating. Ignoring it won't make it go away. You gotta do something about it if you want to change the way you feel. Hi, I'm Mallory Grimste. I'm a teen therapist, and if you want coping skills to deal with your anxiety, you are in the right spot. I'm going to be sharing 5 different strategies in today's video. Coping skill number 1 is saying thank you. Anxiety is just doing its job. It's letting you know that something new or different is going on, and it might be a little uncomfortable or potentially dangerous. So when you express gratitude and say thank you to anxiety for doing its job, it knows that it can chill out and not shout at you to try to get your attention. You've seen it, you've acknowledged it, and you've expressed thanks for doing a good job. Coping skill number 2 is make a move. Sometimes we forget that we can actually change or leave the situation. So if your irritability or anxiety is being caused by the tag on the back of your shirt, you have some options. You can cut the tag out, you can put a piece of tape around the tag, you can take the shirt off and change into a new shirt. There's lots of possibilities here. Coping skill number 3 is connecting with others. We are social creatures and we are not meant to go through this alone. So when you're feeling anxious, sometimes talking about it with other people who you trust and respect can help you think about it in new or different ways, or come up with solutions that you might not have thought of before. It's one of the reasons that I love my teen growth therapy groups. It is so cool seeing how everybody shares what worked for them and what was challenging about that and what they learned from those experiences, because you just never know how sharing what you've learned could help somebody else. Plus, it's always nice to know that you're not alone and that you're not crazy for having that experience. Coping skill number 4 is radical acceptance. Radical acceptance is acknowledging the reality of the situation so that you can roll with the punches. When you can identify and realize the reality of the situation, then you can make informed choices and decisions on what you want to do about it. Coping skill number 5 is changing the way you feel. When it comes to anxiety, we all have physical responses to anxiety. This is totally normal. It's your body's and mind's way of informing your experience. But sometimes our bodies like to shout at us, and so changing the way we physically or emotionally feel requires you to engage in some sort of self-soothing activity. DBT actually dedicates a whole module to the skill set of self-soothing using your 5 senses plus movement. I've personally added creative expression to this category as well. That's my own spin on it. COVID-19 came in, and she came in strong this past year, and we are still on the road to recovery, but that doesn't mean that you have to suffer with your anxiety alone. I'm going to teach you 5 different steps to coping with your anxiety. Step number 1, you gotta slow down. When we start to feel anxious or stressed, everything actually speeds up because we need a lot of energy to escape the perceived danger. We're not that different from when we were cavemen and women and we needed to run away from that dinosaur that was chasing us. Nowadays, your stress and anxiety doesn't know if you are stressed out because there's a tiger chasing you or you've got your math test coming up. So by slowing down your physical processes, you'll actually decrease the edge of that anxiety a little bit, possibly entirely, depending on how anxious you're feeling from the start. So some great strategies to slow down are to take some slow, deep breaths. My favorite way to do this is to breathe in slow through your nose and then even slower out of your mouth. It's that exhale, that out breath, that actually slows down and reverses that response. Another great way to slow down is to literally put your back flat against something. That gives some signals to your brain and your mind that that's one less plane of existence that you have to protect against. While you're there, you can do a quick body scan, just calling your attention from the top of your head and working down your different body parts and just noticing where do you feel contact with your body and something else. This could be another body part, it could be your clothing, it could be the ground on your feet, whatever it is. These are considered your contact points and they're pretty much your points of stability here. When you focus on what feels connected and stable, it gives signals to your brain that you're not in as much danger as it thinks you are. And while we're here, step number 2 is actually listening to your body signals. Your body will tell you exactly what it needs. So many of us, when we get really overwhelmed or stressed out, our bodies tend to heat up. So it's literally telling you that you need to cool down or chill out. So there's a few different ways that you can listen to your body signals and give it what it needs. If you are somebody who heats up when you're stressed out, running some cool water on the inner part of your forearm or getting a cool glass of water can be really helpful. If you're somebody who actually loses body heat and gets really cold when you're stressed out, putting on an extra layer of clothing or wrapping yourself in a blanket can feel really great too. Your body will tell you exactly what it needs if you listen to it. Step number 3 is to stay curious. You don't want to assume that you have all the information. Most times you usually don't. So when you start to fill in the blanks, which is totally normal, by the way, but when you start to fill in those blanks and then believe them without fact checking, you may be feeding yourself some false information or false news. So a great way to practice this is to use beginner's mind. Try to remember what it was like not to know anything about the situation. If you are a scientist or an explorer coming across this circumstance for the very first time, what would you want to know? What would you be curious about? Is there any information that could potentially be missing? Then ask yourself, is any of that even important to what you're trying to do here? If it's not, then you can refocus your attention on something else. Sometimes we get really fixated and focus on things that are out of our control, thinking like, oh my gosh, if I can just get control over this, then I'll feel better. And we just create this scenario where we're never going to get full control of that situation. And that just leads to more stress and anxiety. Have you ever tried to get somebody to do or say something that they just aren't interested in? It is exhausting. You can put the request out there. You can let them know how you feel about it. You can let them know what the impact is, but ultimately it's up to them. So if you keep trying to do the same thing and it's just causing more stress, it may be time to disengage and focus on something that you can control. Step number 4 is to be kind to yourself. Anxiety is really stressful and overwhelming. It can be really exhausting. So beating yourself up for feeling anxious is just going to make you feel worse about yourself. So instead, being kind and gentle to yourself can be really healing here. Think about what you would do or say to a best friend who is struggling with this. You probably wouldn't tell your best friend, well, maybe you would, but I don't know that it would be helpful if your best friend was really hurting. You wouldn't think it kind to just say,
yeah, you know what, you really screwed up there. That was kind of stupid.
You probably would let them know, like,
hey, yeah, you might have made a different choice there, but you did the best that you could.
Learning to be kind to ourselves allows us to be kinder to others too, which leads me directly into step number 5, and that is building connections with other people. We are social creatures. We are not meant to undergo this stress alone. We are meant to be with other people and to have relationships with other people. So by building those connections and those relationships in healthy ways, not only are you helping each other, but you're also helping yourselves. It's one of the reasons why I love the teen growth therapy groups that I run. I've seen firsthand over and over again with these teenagers that when they are able to help other people with similar circumstances as that, they're actually learning how to improve that for themselves too. It's really powerful stuff. It's probably one of the main reasons that I do what I do. It's a great way to learn from each other and experience from each other and heal on this journey together, which there's lots of research that when you have good, healthy social supports and connections, you actually feel better in the long run too. Wouldn't it be great if there was a coping strategy that you could take with you literally anywhere? Well, in today's video, I'm sharing 7 different coping skills that you can use at work, at home, at school, anywhere, because you really just need yourself to make these work. So the first coping skill is imagery. You've got to be able to visualize or imagine things differently if you want to feel differently about them. So you can use this by imagining the future outcome that you're working towards and how great and amazing that will feel. You can also use this to imagine yourself in a more comfortable scenario. For example, if you have to give a presentation for school, that that can feel very panicky. So one of the things that you can do is practice and imagine the speech is going well and people are receiving it well. Everybody is smiling, everybody is having a good time, and the teacher is giving you an A++. So the thing is, once you imagine and visualize this happening, your mind and your brain already believes that it's already happened. So when you're in the situation later, it won't consider it a new or different situation. So your anxiety responses will actually be less because it doesn't have to put on that alert warning that like, hey, this is a new different situation. We don't know how to feel about it yet. You've already practiced and oriented your mind to how this situation should go. And so it will follow what it's imagined you've already done. The second coping skill that you can take with you anywhere is meaning. So if you know why you're doing this and you can think about the impact that it's going to have in a positive way, of course, then it can help motivate you to push through and get through this difficult moment. Do you have a bigger purpose to why you're doing this? Do you have a reason about why this is important and meaningful for you? Is there something bigger that you're looking to achieve and work towards? Keeping all of that in mind is really useful and helpful. So some people will actually write down whatever their intention or meaning is, kind of like a mantra or an affirmation, and have that as a reminder for themselves like, okay, I will get through this. This too shall pass, whatever it is that works for you. If you've got a great meaningful mantra or affirmation that's worked well for you, please share it in the comments because you never know who you could be helping when you do. So the third coping skill is prayer or spirituality. For some people, prayer indicates a religious component, and that may be useful and helpful for you. But this coping skill is really about connecting to something bigger than yourself. So this could be a spiritual ritual like journaling and reflecting with the new moon. It could be actually praying to whatever spiritual guide you ascribe to. It may even just be practicing and expressing yourself spiritually through dance or creativity. This next coping skill is one of my favorites, and it is restorative rest. So y'all know that for some reason, rest has gotten a bad reputation. Though I don't know, I think that we left that behind in 2020. No more apologizing for resting. We all are exhausted. We all need rest to restore our energy. So making the time and space to create that for ourselves is going to be so useful and helpful in these moments. And you can take this literally everywhere with you. I talk about bathrooms as being these magical coping skills rooms because you can do so many coping strategies in there, and literally taking a pause and a break in the bathroom can be a wonderful way to implement some restorative rest. Taking a pause and taking a sip of water can be a way of engaging restorative rest if you need a moment to collect your thoughts, your energy, your feelings, or re-regulate your mood. You can even pause where you are and take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Another coping skill that you can take literally anywhere with you is one thing. So focusing on one thing, one task, one element in the room will help you cope with whatever is stressing or overwhelming you. There's a few different ways that you can do this. So you can do this by asking yourself the focusing question, which is asking if you could only get one thing done on your to-do list that could make everything easier and better and more manageable, what would that be? And then start taking action on that. And stay open, because that one thing might be taking a moment to relieve yourself in the bathroom. For some reason, we forget about that, but that takes a lot of stress and effort. Another way to practice one thing is to focus on a color or an object in the room and just notice and observe what that is in the room, or counting all the things that are that particular color or shape. You can also use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique, which is noticing 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can feel, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. And I highly recommend that you do this 5 to 1 as a countdown, because when we go backwards or down like that, it signals to our mind and our body like, let's decompress and slow down. The next coping skill that you can take anywhere with you is vacation. Now, okay, you can't always just pause and be like, I'm going on vacation. I'm going to Aruba or wherever. Can you tell that I'm dying to go on a beach vacation? I really am. Okay, so you might not be able to actually take a vacation, but you can take a mental break or an emotional break by physically removing yourself from the situation if possible. And if you can't, you can take a mental break or vacation. You can do this through daydreaming. You can do this through imagining. You can do this through actually just taking a walk around the building with permission, of course, especially if you're a teenager. You don't want to just get up and leave your classroom without your teacher's permission. That's key. And please don't just get up and walk out of your home without your parents' permission. That's not taking a vacation. That is running away, and that could lead to whole other circumstances that you don't want to deal with. This next coping strategy is a favorite of mine because, again, you can take it anywhere with you, literally anywhere, because it just involves your thinking, and that is offering encouragement to yourself. How awesome is it when we hear an acknowledgement and praise and good things about us? We can do that for ourselves too. And the more that we talk positively and encouragingly to ourselves, the more receptive we are from hearing it from others too. So if you are uncomfortable with encouraging statements, I really recommend that you try this one out, and keep in mind that it can take saying 5 positive things to yourself to cancel out 1 negative thought. You know that group therapy can be really helpful for your anxiety, but what if you're too anxious to show up? In this video, I'm going to be sharing 4 different coping skills that you can use so that you can hang in there and show up for group therapy even when your anxiety is out of control. The very first thing that you can do is drink some water. It may sound really strange, but water can actually help cool you down to help you get better in control of your anxiety responses. Drinking water also has another added benefit, that if you are not sure what to say or you need a moment to collect yourself, very few people are going to interrupt you and say, oh, don't drink that water right now, I asked you a question. Especially in group therapy. Usually people are in group therapy because they want to be, not because they have to be. So that means that they're probably going to be kind and respectful and allow you some time to complete your sip of water while you collect your thoughts, gather your emotions, and just kind of physically reset for a moment. Coping skill number 2 is to reset physically. So you can actually do this in a few different ways. You can literally shake it out. I don't know that I would recommend that in the middle of group, but before you enter into the group room or turn on your camera if you're still doing virtual group, just doing something to shake out that excess energy can be really useful and helpful to just shift into a new emotional state. If you can't do that, or you're in the group already and you're starting to feel a little panicky, you can silently to yourself take a few deep breaths. I highly recommend breathing in through your nose and slowly out through your mouth. A lot of us, when we start feeling anxious, tend to tighten up and bundle up. You might cross your legs or have your arms folded in front of you. So literally untangling your limbs will help you relax and reset. The third coping skill you can use is to apply pressure. So I know I just told you to unwind yourself, but sometimes putting some physical pressure on you can help you feel a little more contained and relaxed. So you can do this by hugging yourself. Most people aren't going to notice if you have your arms around you, but you can also apply pressure by squeezing your hands and releasing, or even in your toes and release. Most people, if you're wearing shoes, won't even notice, and even if you're not, they're probably not going to be looking at your feet. But you can really do this with any body part. The fourth coping strategy that you can use is to change the story. We happen to be storytelling creatures. It's how we retain and remember and pass along important information to each other. So when you lock into a narrative or a story that you're telling yourself, you tend to believe it and you tend to respond as though it's absolutely going to happen. How obnoxious is it when you're watching a TV show and you're like, oh, that kid's mom is not dead? and then boom, you find out that you were wrong. It can be a little shocking. It can be a little exciting to explore other opportunities or possibilities in that storyline, which is why different TV shows and movies try to shock and awe us, and you can apply that to yourself as well. Don't get so locked in that because group has always been anxiety provoking for you that it will stay anxiety provoking for you. Try to explore some other opportunities or options that could happen for you. If you happen to be somebody who really struggles with negative thinking, I highly recommend that you check out the video on your screen right over here. And if you found the information in this video useful and helpful, please be sure to share it. You never know who you could be helping. Thanks for watching.